Well, luckily Dreamweaver came on, and somehow we found more time. Crazy stuff. Let's dedicate the wrap-up of this article to Gary Wright and Dreamweaver. I hope you can hear me. He's performing live, but we still need to give the information that you came here for. We're all dying for it. 10 more minutes. We're reading this interesting article in the Wall Street Journal that is going to provide some really good numbers to sort of keep in your head. Okay, it's basically setting up the U.S. energy boom and where it sits right now, where it can go, and what the risks are. I continue the article. Thank you. Gary is really putting... Watch this. Boy, he takes you there. Okay, back to the article. So far, most companies aren't dialing back. That's talking about U.S. oil production companies. Even though they need access to enormous amounts of capital to pay for the deep wells required to tap dense rock formations. Much of the growth in fossil fuel production comes from companies that need to sell shares, take on debt, or sell assets to plug a gap between spending and their revenue. Oh shit, now we're getting into investing and trading and fortunes won and lost and GMX and Gary Wright. Go back into the article right about now. Much of the growth in fossil fuel production comes from companies that need to sell shares, take on debt, or sell assets to plug a gap between spending and their revenue. This is a big story with Chesapeake. It'll be a part of their story when we do our feature on them, if that ever happens. According to an estimate by Barclays PLC, 50 major U.S. oil and gas explorers needed to raise $50 billion last year to close that gap. Okay, so there's an average of 50 U.S. oil and gas explorers, and each one needed to raise $1 billion a year to close the gap. Plenty of private equity funding and overseas investment remains available, industry experts say, and debt remains relatively cheap. Wow, interesting there. I'll continue the quote here. This is from Maynard Holt, co-president of Houston-based investment bank Tudor, Pickering, Holt & Company. Wow, is this Jesus? That may be Maynard Holt of Tudor, Pickering, Holt. Wow, they've got access to the top brass here. I quote, "The dollars needed have never been larger, but the money is truly out there. The global energy capital river is flowing our way." Okay, folks, I'm going to take a deep breath and a timeout. I'm quoting this gentleman. I've never read this article before in my life. Here's a quote. "The dollars needed have never been larger." So we now know that we need enormous dollars to get this U.S. energy boom going. And the continued quote, "But the money is truly out there. The global energy capital river," which sounds a lot like the global energy rainbow, which he has his own thoughts on this matter. "The global energy capital river is flowing our way." Now, there was another gentleman, and once again, this is Maynard Holt, co-president of Houston-based investment bank Tudor, Pickering, Holt & Company. Probably a wicked pedigree. Now we got Billy Joel behind us. If we can get Boston to come on before I finish this article, we're going to blow it out. Anyway, there was another quote that was very similar to Mr. Holt's, and that may have been from Mr. McClendon, but someone said, and I think he may have said it, that the greatest shift in global wealth is occurring. I suspect that's exactly what's happening, and I suspect that this lovely little university you see behind us will be a major benefactor, as well as this state and the United States of America, and that's the story here. Well, that's really not the story, that's just the start of it. But I continue. U.S. energy producers also are drilling more efficiently and cutting costs in other ways. Some companies have said that the amount of oil and gas produced by shale wells isn't dropping as fast as predicted. Ken Hirsch, chief executive of NGP Energy Capital Management LLC, a private equity fund with $13 billion under management, said the immense amounts of oil and gas uncovered in recent years indicate that the U.S. energy boom could last a long time. Quote, "It is not a supply question anymore," he said. "It is about demand and the cost of production. Those are the two drivers." So in this one article, which took me 3 god darn episodes Mofo episodes. By the way, let's get this out of the way. This will probably be rated R, so fuck you, and that's spelled P-H-U-C-K, which is a totally different word than the other one. Anyway, this article does a wonderful job of giving you an overview, a really nice, simple, fair overview, as best I can tell, as you learn it from the Wall Street Journal. You probably may need to go to other sources, but we're going to do our best to basically just sort of try and follow the science in this, and the money, because I think the money follows the science, but who knows? We don't even know what this show's about, but we're wrapping it up, and it's a miracle, because it's coming in at under 6 minutes, and I'm completely exhausted, and I'll never do this again. See ya.